अस्सलाम वालेकुम रहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। सो हमारा आज जो है वो जो हमारा गोल्स के ऊपर सेक्शन चल रहा है, जो हमने लेवल 2 में पूरा जो है वो गोल्स के ऊपर बात करनी है। तो आज हम उसी के ऊपर हमारी डिस्कशन होगी। सो हमारा आपने पिछली वीडियोज़ में देखा होगा कि हमारा स्टेप बाय स्टेप चलता आ रहा है। तो आज का जो हमारी वीडियो है इसके ऊपर हम जो पिछली वीडियो में हमने एनवायरनमेंट के ऊपर बात कर रहे थे, उसी के ऊपर हम जो है वो और गहराई में आज वाज़ेह जो है बात करेंगे। चलते हैं चैट जीपीटी की तरफ और करते हैं उससे का आगाज़। सो हेलो चैट जीपीटी, हाउ आर यू?
मैं बिल्कुल ठीक हूँ, शुक्रिया। आप सुनाएं, आप कैसे हैं? उम्मीद है आपका दिन अच्छा गुजरा होगा। अगर आपको कोई और मदद या बातचीत करनी हो तो बेशक बताइएगा।
यस चैट जीपीटी, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह। सो चैट जीपीटी, so discussion for top discussion of our goals. So starting for some question and this topic related environment. So my first question: what are responsibility to develop countries bear for Pakistan climate loss?
That's a great question. Developed countries have a significant responsibility when it comes to addressing climate loss in nations like Pakistan. This responsibility includes providing financial support for adaptation and mitigation efforts, as well as funding for rebuilding infrastructure that's been damaged by climate-related disasters. Moreover, developed countries are also expected to help transfer green technologies and knowledge to Pakistan, enabling it to develop sustainably and reduce its own carbon footprint. This includes things like renewable energy projects, climate resilient agriculture, and improved water management systems. Additionally, developed countries are expected to fulfill their commitments under international agreements like the Paris Agreement to cut down on greenhouse gas emissions, which in turn helps reduce the overall impact of climate change on countries like Pakistan. In essence, the responsibility of developed countries is both ethical and practical, ensuring that vulnerable nations can adapt and thrive despite the challenges posed by climate change. If you have more questions or want to dive deeper, feel free to ask.
Yes, what is a climate on climate, or how does the concept of the climate of justice apply to in Pakistan, and why is that important?
Climate justice is essentially about ensuring that the burdens and benefits of climate action are distributed fairly, especially considering that those who are least responsible for climate change often suffer the most from its impacts. In the context of Pakistan, climate justice involves recognizing that Pakistan, despite having a relatively low carbon footprint, is highly vulnerable to the effects of climate change, such as floods, droughts, and extreme weather events. Applying the concept of climate justice in Pakistan means advocating for equitable support and resources from the international community. This includes financial aid for climate adaptation and mitigation, technology transfer, and capacity building to help Pakistan cope with and recover from climate impacts. It's also about ensuring that the voices of vulnerable communities in Pakistan are heard in global climate negotiations, so that policies and actions are tailored to their needs and realities. Overall, climate justice is crucial because it promotes fairness and equity, helping to address the disparities that climate change creates and ensuring that everyone, including Pakistan, can move toward a more sustainable and resilient future. If you'd like to explore more about this or have other questions, just let me know.
What long-term strategies should Pakistan adopt to tackle environment risk?
To tackle environmental risks effectively, Pakistan can adopt several long-term strategies. First, focusing on sustainable development is key, which means integrating environmental considerations into all sectors like agriculture, industry, and urban planning. Second, investing in renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydropower can help reduce reliance on fossil fuels and lower greenhouse gas emissions. Third, enhancing climate resilience is crucial. This can be achieved by improving infrastructure to withstand extreme weather, developing drought-resistant crops, and implementing effective water management practices. And fourth, protecting and restoring ecosystems such as forests, wetlands, and mangroves can help maintain biodiversity and naturally buffer against environmental changes. Fifth, promoting public awareness and education about environmental issues can empower communities to take action and support sustainable practices. Sixth, strengthening environmental policies and enforcement can ensure that regulations are in place and followed, helping protect natural resources over the long term. Finally, fostering international cooperation and climate finance is essential for gaining support and resources from the global community. By adopting these strategies, Pakistan can build a more resilient and sustainable future. If you'd like to delve deeper into any specific area, just let me know.
Okay. How are political instability and environment mismanagement interconnected? And why is a media failed prioritize environment issue in Pakistan? Why no discuss media and today?
That's a really insightful set of questions. First, political instability and environmental mismanagement are often deeply interconnected. Political instability can lead to weak governance, which means less effective enforcement of environmental regulations and policies. When governments are unstable, they might prioritize short-term political gains over long-term environmental sustainability. This can result in unchecked pollution, deforestation, and overexploitation of natural resources. On the flip side, environmental degradation can contribute to political instability and, for example, resource scarcity like water shortages or declining agricultural productivity can lead to social unrest and conflict, which in turn further destabilizes governance. As for the media's role in Pakistan, environmental issues often do not get the attention they deserve. There are several reasons for this. One major factor is that media outlets might prioritize political news, entertainment, or economic issues over environmental topics. Also, limited resources and expertise in environmental journalism can impact the depth and quality of coverage. Additionally, sometimes environmental issues are overshadowed by more immediate crises or political events. Despite these challenges, increasing awareness and encouraging media to give more prominence to environmental issues is crucial. It can help build public support for sustainable policies and drive positive change. If you want to dive deeper into any of these aspects or have more questions, just let me know.
Why should environment education and compulsory in Pakistan can justical achievement improve environment government in Pakistan?
Integrating environmental education into the curriculum in Pakistan is really important for several reasons. First, it helps raise awareness from a young age about the importance of environmental stewardship and sustainable practices. When students understand environmental issues early on, they're more likely to grow up as responsible citizens who prioritize the environment in their personal and professional lives. Second, environmental education can empower people with the knowledge and skills needed to tackle local environmental challenges. This can lead to more community-driven initiatives, better conservation efforts, and more sustainable lifestyles. Third, by making environmental education compulsory, we ensure that all students, regardless of their background, have a baseline understanding of how human activities impact the environment and what they can do to help. This creates a more environmentally conscious society in the long run. When it comes to governance, educated citizens are more likely to demand accountability and transparency from their leaders, and this can lead to better environmental policies, more effective implementation, and stronger enforcement of environmental regulations. Ultimately, embedding environmental education can help create a culture of sustainability, leading to more informed decision making at all levels of society. If you'd like to explore any specific aspect further, just let me know.
What are the root of causes of weak environment and government in Pakistan should discuss? So, why should economic growth and prioritize our environment protection and discuss our Pakistan environment policies uh, and with ground reality?
Absolutely. Let's dive into that. The root causes of weak environmental governance in Pakistan are quite multifaceted. One major factor is the lack of strong institutional frameworks and effective regulatory bodies. Sometimes environmental policies are not well enforced due to bureaucratic inefficiencies, corruption, or lack of resources. Another cause is the limited public awareness and education about environmental issues, which means that both the public and even some policymakers may not fully understand the importance of sustainable practices. Another factor is the pressure to prioritize short-term economic growth, sometimes at the expense of the environment. For example, industries might be encouraged to expand rapidly without adequate environmental impact assessments, leading to pollution and resource depletion. It's also important to consider the influence of political instability, which can disrupt long-term planning and lead to inconsistent environmental policies. Now, regarding why economic growth and environmental protection should go hand in hand, sustainable economic growth ensures that we don't deplete our natural resources and that future generations inherit a healthy environment. When environmental protection is prioritized, it can lead to more resilient ecosystems, healthier communities, and even long-term economic benefits like sustainable tourism and agriculture. In Pakistan, aligning environmental policies with ground realities means creating practical, enforceable policies that consider local contexts, community needs, and available resources. It's about striking a balance so that economic development doesn't come at the cost of the environment and vice versa. In summary, integrating strong environmental governance with economic growth and can lead to a more sustainable and prosperous future for Pakistan. If you'd like to explore any specific aspect review, just let me know.
Why is climate adaptation more than critical and migration for Pakistan and environment crisis and the greatest failure and challenge for Pakistan justify?
Climate adaptation is especially critical for Pakistan because the country is highly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. Pakistan frequently faces extreme weather events like floods, droughts, and heat waves, which directly threaten agriculture, water resources, and human health. Adapting to these changes is essential for minimizing the negative impacts and protecting the livelihoods of millions of people. Without effective adaptation, the risks of food insecurity, water scarcity, and health crises become even more severe. This makes it crucial for Pakistan to implement strategies like improving water management, building resilient infrastructure, and developing climate-resistant crops. Migration, on the other hand, often becomes a response to environmental stress when people are forced to leave their homes due to uninhabitable conditions. This can create additional social and economic challenges such as urban overcrowding and increased pressure on resources in receiving areas. The greatest challenge for Pakistan is managing these interconnected issues in a way that not only addresses immediate impacts, but also builds long-term resilience. This involves a combination of proactive policies, community engagement, and international cooperation. In summary, climate adaptation is crucial for reducing vulnerability and addressing migration as a result of environmental stress is essential for creating sustainable solutions. If you'd like to delve deeper into any specific aspect, just let me know.
Thank you, ChatGPT, and just topic related in discussion.
आपका बहुत शुक्रिया। अगर आपको कभी भी मज़ीद सवालात या किसी और मौजू पर बात करनी हो तो बिला झिझक बताइएगा, मैं हमेशा मदद के लिए हाजिर हूँ। आपका दिन बहुत अच्छा गुजरे।
इंशाल्लाह कोशिश करेंगे कि अगले टॉपिक में मोर जो है ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा जो है हम इसमें आपको आगे बढ़ा सकें। तो ये था आज का हमारा सेक्शन, ज़िंदगी रही तो फिर होगी आपसे मुलाकात। तब तक रखिएगा अपना ख्याल। अल्लाह हाफ़िज़।